Today, Candace and I are going to talk about the differences in relationships when you end a relationship, if you cut the person off or if you leave some open space in your heart for like a friendship. We're just going to kind of talk about that because her and I are both very different in our approach to things, and she's a lot more kind than I am. I think I'm a lot worse. If I break up with someone, I'm just like, you're done, you're cut off, we're not doing this.
Dead to me.
Yeah, dead to me. Like I was like a Italian gangster in another life, maybe. I don't know. But Candace is so different, and I love it. And I think that, yeah, you tell him.
So I have a different perspective only because I've had a successful attempt at it, right? Like, I understand, yes, I've had some toxic exes, and I'm very glad that they're no longer in my life. But I've also, since I really healed before I started dating again, I've dated some really cool people. And whether we really hit it off in like the sense of business or the sense of healing and energy and yoga or traveling or whatever, it's like there was really nothing wrong with either party. We just weren't meant to be. And so we've been able to stay friends. And my best example of that is a long-term relationship that I had, and we were very blunt from the beginning, and we had the honest conversation at the end, which I think is important because that's how it worked, right? That's how we were able to pull off staying friends after we ended, intimacy relations. So I met him, and it was a couple months after I had gone through my divorce. I wasn't used to being single. I wasn't used to not being intimate, but also I had been married for 10 years. So I hadn't been intimate with anyone except for my husband. So I didn't know how to not be intimate, but I didn't want to just go out and be intimate with anybody. I was in a predicament, and I needed a solution. So I, had this conversation with the universe, and it just kind of clicked. So I was at my job at the time. This beautiful creature walked in. We exchanged information, and when we went out on our first date, we had a very honest conversation. He said, I'm going through a divorce. I said, wow, I'm going through a divorce. Like, we both knew from the jump that this was that, what are they called? Not the buffer, but your rebound.
Yeah, like a rebound guy.
There's a rebound. Like a rebound relationship for both of us.
Rebound sex.
And that's honestly what I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we went out, we hit it off, we decided we were going to be intimate, we had another date, and he just never went away. Like 5 years later, we were still friends with benefits. But we were both going through divorces. Our court dates were like a week apart. Every court date was like a week apart. And we had the same length of divorce, which was like 4 years. We were just a support system, a very helpful tool for one another throughout that time. And so we had the conversation at the beginning of, we're not looking for anything serious. We're not ready to be in a committed relationship. We're not healthy enough to be in that relationship. But over the 4 or 5 years, we really grew. We grew as people, individuals, and then our friendship grew because the conversations were honest. So at the end of it, he was like, do you want to take this into a real relationship? And we had too many differences. Locations of where we lived, kids versus not wanting kids. We just weren't the same. I knew that wasn't going to be compatible. So we said, okay, that doesn't make sense. He was ready for a new relationship. He met someone he wanted to give it a try with. He came to me with this information very honestly. And I wish you the best, Like, I'm not going to allow, a text message at 11 at night anymore, but also I'm not going to text you at 11 at night anymore, right? We had to set these boundaries, but that honest convo really allowed for us to genuinely, like, we're still friends. We still wish the best for one another. We don't talk because I want to give him a fighting chance in this new relationship. But like, he knows if you needed me, and I know if I needed him for whatever reason, like emergency, like we would be there, there's just no hard feelings. There's no like anxiety or animosity.
Do you think that you were able to have that because it wasn't like a super serious committed relationship? It was more of like a friendship, hookup, support system that you bonded with over time? Because if you didn't look at the guy and think, oh, I'm going to marry this guy, do you think you would have felt differently?
Probably, I would probably have felt very different, but I'm big on honest communication. So if we had an honest convo in the beginning and it was we're both looking for marriage and we're both looking for this, and for whatever reason it didn't work out, but it was no one's fault per se,
Yeah.
I think I would still be able to.
I think you still feel the
To
same.
still be friends, and like down the road even like, oh yeah, we used to date, and like our wives know each other. Like there's no like once I'm a person, like once I'm over it, I don't really need to think of you sexually. That attachment isn't quite there. So
I think you do business so well that like when a relationship moves from like a romantic thing into like, you wouldn't be the insulting like ex-girlfriend if I was dating a guy and he said, oh, I dated Candace. I wouldn't be insulted by you. I wouldn't hate you instantly. Like maybe because you have gorgeous hair, but other than that, I would be like, oh, she's cool. Okay, because you don't give off that impression like I'm gonna hit on your man or I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
you're
some
not like
people
that.
like can't let that part of the relationship go.
Yeah.
And I can definitely let that part of the relationship go.
Yeah.
But the flip side of things, even if you could let it go, some people just don't want to stay friends with certain people, whether they're toxic or not.
Yeah.
And I could get that. I mean, it's not per se for me, but like for you, it works.
Yeah, for me, I always felt like if it weren't for social media, when we break up with someone, you don't really, unless you have lots of friends in common, you don't see that person anymore. So that seemed to me like the natural evolution of relationships, So unfortunately with 8 billion types of websites of social media, and I feel like I'm on all of them, I have to block people.
All the time.
Yeah, I just don't want to see you, like we're cool. If we were to cross each other at the crosswalk, like we would make eye contact and potentially smile and like we'd be cool. But I don't think we need to have that relationship beyond that. I might just have like the emotional intelligence of a teenager, so that's why I do that. Maybe I know myself and I'm like, no, I would like claw his eyes out. I better cut it off.
Like most people are like, no, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to see him. Although I think that goes into a lot of us are not ending things on a healthy note.
That's probably me. I don't think anything ends for me on a healthy note. It just ends and
like,
then
this is done, so why talk about it? Okay, bye.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. If I was a mob boss, you'd have cement boots. I don't know.
Seriously, that reminds me of my niece, because when my niece gets upset and she knows that I'm like right with what she says, okay, bye, and she shuts the door because that's all she can do right now. She's like 3, but I mean it works in theory. I'm like, hey,
I know.
We're done talking.
I feel like your 3-year-old niece. I'm your 3-year-old niece. No, but it's so interesting how there are just so many differences in the way that people end things. And I think
nothing's like wrong.
No, I guess there's really no wrong.
Right?
As long as you leave a situation and you're not causing the other person harm, I don't think you're in the wrong.
Right. Yeah. And I think maybe for some people too, that goes into like, I need to distance myself from you, because if I see certain things, I might want to like say something like he's a lying, cheating piece of shit, or, like I would be that person, so let me just cut you out so I don't have to, right? And that's the good part of the healing, where we were saying boundaries. Yeah,
I know. I have to keep myself classy. You're done. I can stay classy. You can stay alive. It all works out,
and it works out for everybody. All right. Well, now you know 2 sides of the coin. But everyone lives. Everything carries on.
Yeah.
No right, no wrong answer.
We all win in this situation.
We all win. Do what you got to do in life to stay happy, stay healthy, stay healing.